right? So in this chapter, we will be studying the human blood circulatory system. It is the grade 9, chapter number 6, right? It's the grade 9, chapter number 6. Most importantly, in this chapter, we'll look at that. Let's talk, right? Human blood circulatory system is one of the main systems. We might have been studied about 9 different types of system in our body contains there are about 9 systems, right? In our body. In our body, it contains 9 different types of system. But the human blood circulatory system is one of the main system which is known. We will be talking about the main system here. And here the human blood circulatory system is one of the main system in our body. In our body, there are lots of different types of system. One is, for example, the digestive system. Second one, for example, reproductive system. And respiratory system, reproductive system, respiratory system. And also a skeletal system. And also you would have this nervous system, your body nervous system. And there are about 9 different types of system But among these 9 different systems, in this chapter, we're going to discuss about human blood circulatory system, right? As you know, as we study this blood circulatory system or something, here, the third point, if you look at this one, it's a closed system. It is not opened like skeletal system in our body. It's a closed system, which means there is a network in our body that through that blood cells, the blood tubes or the vessels, blood is what? Transporting. The blood is transported through that blood cells. So it's blood tubes, or I can say blood vessel. So that's what we can say. It is a closed system. Closed system means Mudiyatogudi, right? Sometime I will give this note, right? I have to say one thing here. And another point here, human blood circulatory system contains main 3 parts. That is what? Human heart. Second one, blood tubes or blood vessel. And third one is a blood. Do you remember in your tank, which means water tank? Water tank is placed top of your roof, right? In that top of your roof, and there are tubes from that from that tank. And also here the water is pressed in that water tank. So remember something like this water tank is like a heart. And the tubes or the vessels which is being used in tanks can be considered as a blood tubes or blood vessel. And the water is passing through this one can be considered here as blood. Something like this one is a water tank. From that tank, the tubes are moving and coming and going. And also water is passing. Something like the blood circulatory system contains mainly three main parts. One is human heart, second one blood vessels or blood tubes, and the third one is blood, right? Okay, let's move to now, let's talk about this human heart. Human heart, I have given a one picture of that human heart here, right? So this is the picture you must know, which is in your book, right? So human heart is a cross section, longitudinal cross section picture. Something like, for example, if you have a mango, right? If you have mango, and if you cut it cross section, crossly, longitudinal section, if you cut it, then you will be seeing something like that. This is the longitudinal cross section picture of human heart. Human heart is one of the very good organ, and it's like it's உங்களோட கையை அப்படியே மடக்கி வச்சீங்கன்னு சொன்னா நான் சொல்ல பாருங்க உங்களோட கையை மடக்கி வச்சீங்கன்னு சொன்னா உங்களோட கை அந்த மொத்த கையும் இருக்குதானே உள்ளங்கையில மடக்கி வச்சீங்கன்னு சொன்னா அந்த கையில அளவு தான் that size is equals to human heart, your heart. So கை நீளமா இருக்குன்னு சொன்னா பெருசா இருக்குன்னு சொன்னா then their heart uh, uh, what's that size could be little high, right? So kai சின்னதா இருக்கும் heart சின்னதா இருக்கும். Normally according to that your hand you can determine or you can assess your size of heart, right? Okay, fine. Now let's move to let's talk about here in this chapter grade 9 human heart. What is needed actually? The parts of human heart and their function. Parts of human heart and their function. What are the parts which is present in human heart? For example, you can see here, there are 4 main chambers in human heart. There are main 4 chambers in human heart. Look at this one. This is one chamber. Another chamber here. Another chamber here. Look. I can draw a different color. Another chamber here. This is another chamber. And here I can draw. This is another chamber. So there are 4 main chambers in human heart. But the thing is, upper chambers means male chambers. Chambers present above can be called as atrium, or you can say atria, right? So these chambers, this is one chambers. This is another chamber. This is upper chambers. Both these upper chambers can be called as atrium. Look, this one, this is atrium. But if it's present in left side, and we can call that left atrium. But we are observing with right side, am I right? We are seeing this part as right side. So what is the point that when you observe that right side, and it should be left atrium. And when you observe the right atrium, so left side, this is, in your mobile phone or laptop, this is left side, and this is right side. But the right side chambers, upper chambers, atrium called left atrium. I can explain very deeply if it's in a live or physical class, right? But I can't explain using that way. You can turn it and stand it something like that, and you can feel it there. It's a left and right. By observing the, this, this chamber is showing as right when I observe, but it's left atrium. பார்க்கல இது எப்படி இருக்குன்னா right sideல இருக்கு, but left atrium என்று பேர் கொடுக்கலாம். ஏன்னா அது left sideல தான் உண்மைக்கு இருக்கும். Because அங்க இருந்து ஒரு ஆள் இருக்கிற மாதிரி பாருங்க, உங்களோட மொபைல் போன்ல ஒரு ஆள் முன்னுக்கு உங்களை பார்த்துக்கு இருக்கிற மாதிரி இருக்குன்னு சொன்னா that's left one, left side, left side. And also here, this is left side, which means that when you observe, this is left side, and it considered it should be the right atrium. So there are 4 chambers, and the 4 chambers, if you consider these 4 chambers, actually, right? Wait, okay, I can draw here. Okay, these 4 chambers and the chambers below the heart chambers ventricle. We can say ventricle. And if it's in a right side, we can call right ventricle. And if it's in a left side, we can call left ventricle. So most importantly, in our body, in our heart, there are 4 main chambers in our heart. Upper side is the atrium. Downside is the ventricle. And if it's a left side, that is called left ventricle. And if it's in a right side, we can call right ventricle. And if it's in a right side and upper side, we can call that the right atrium. Another point is between these right atrium and the left atrium, ventricle, right ventricle, right atrium and the right ventricle, there is a valve, right? Here is the valve. This is the valve. You know the cycle, the bicycle tube valve, right? Bicycle tube valve. That bicycle tube valve, what is the function of that bicycle tube valve? காத்து நீங்க அடிக்கல என்ன செய்யும் என்று சொன்னா காத்து உள்ளுக்கு போகும். Valve tube நீங்க போட்டீங்கன்னு சொன்னா காத்து வெளியில வராது. Which means it allows what? The blood flow from right atrium to right ventricle in a one way. இங்கிருந்து இங்க blood வாரத்துக்கு தான் இந்த tricuspid valve. This valve is called tricuspid valve. In Tamil, mukkur valve. You can observe here there are 3 மூணு இருக்குது பாருங்க. Mukkur valve. So tricuspid valve present between right atrium and the right ventricle, right? So mukkur valve enapaduvadu tri means moonu, so right side tricuspid valve. What is the function of this tricuspid valve? Allows the blood flow from right atrium to right ventricle. Another valve present between left atrium and the left ventricle, and this here is the valve. That valve is called bicuspid valve. Bicuspid valve means another name for bicuspid valve is a mitral valve. It's a mitral valve. The mitre was invented this valve, and that's why we can call that a mitral valve. And it is present between left atrium and the left ventricle. This function also, it allows the blood flow from left atrium to, allows the blood flow from left atrium to left ventricle. அப்ப இவர வேலை இங்க இருந்து இங்க blood போகாட்டுறது. இவர வேலை இங்க இருந்து இங்க blood போகாட்டுறது. So what you have to understand here, there are four main heart chambers: right atrium, right ventricle, left atrium, left ventricle, and between those right atrium and right ventricle, there is a valve, tricuspid valve, and the bicuspid valve between left atrium and the left ventricle. So these are the four and the two valves present in the human heart between the chambers. And another part of this human heart is come to this point again. And there are some of the tubes, which means tubes start from. Another point here, look at this one. If you look at this, the thick of this human heart, this is, as I said earlier, this is the left ventricle, and this is right ventricle, and the wall, inside wall of this left ventricle, inside wall of this left ventricle is thicker than this right ventricle. Do you see this one? You see this one. Look at this one. This is a thick, which means this is so thick when you compare this right ventricle. So left ventricle chamber is thicker than the right ventricle. There is a reason we will be studying later. And also, there are two main arteries which is started from heart. There are two main arteries. One artery is, here look at this one. This is the artery which is starting from heart. It is starting from where? Starting from right ventricle. It is starting from right ventricle. And this artery means Tamil sonna nadi. So adula perinadi. Left pulmonary artery, which means left pulmonary artery, which means if it's go inside, something like the pulmonary artery, when it goes something like, it will branch it by two. It will branch it by two, right? So it becomes, it branches as two, two branches. And if it's called left side, which is left side? Is it left side or right side? Pakakala right side like the left side. Pakakala left side like the right side. So if it's called a left side, right? If it's called a left side, and we can call this left pulmonary artery. And there could be another part, another branch, which is not given in this book, in this here, right? Here it is not given. I will draw one picture and you can understand very clear. But you must know the parts which is in your book. We can draw. Right. So this is left pulmonary artery, and if it's a branch, this is right pulmonary artery. And another important tubes which is started from left ventricle. Here, this one, it is starting here, and this right what's that? The red colored tube which is starting from this left ventricle, it is starting, this tube is starting here, right? It's starting here, and we can call this the aorta, in Tamil Togudi Pirinadi, or we can say systematic artery, aorta or systematic artery. Don't confuse, I will draw a nice picture, right? Okay. systematic artery. And there are two veins, the main veins which is coming towards this heart, and one is this one. It's flow the blood towards the heart, and that is called pulmonary veins. The veins, the blood is passing or is flowing towards the heart, and that is a pulmonary vein. And also, there are two vena cavas, right? If it's collect the blood and from the above the body, and that blood tube is called superior vena cava, which means இதுக்கு பேரு மேற்பெருநாளம். And there is another tube which is starting here is what? Inferior vena cava. And also another thing, there is a tube, there is a valve in this pulmonary artery and systematic artery. We can call that, what's that? Semilunar valves. Those names are semilunar valves. This is how you should remember. These are the parts you should remember. The four chambers of this heart, and between right atrium and right ventricle, tricuspid, left atrium, left ventricle is bicuspid, and we can say it is a mitral valve. Also, it is starting tubes, right? You could understand more about using this picture. Look at this picture now. You can observe very clearly in this picture. And I will draw also, don't worry. There are four chambers. This is right atrial or right atrium, left atrium, right ventricle. This is right ventricle. This is left ventricle. Between these right atrium and the left ventricle, right ventricle, there is a valve. We call this one tricuspid valve. Another valve which is present between these one is a tricuspid valve, bicuspid valve. And there is a tube which is starting, and this is left pulmonary artery, and this is right pulmonary artery, and it can be called as a pulmonary artery, or we can say aorta, right? And also it is starting, this tube is starting from this left ventricle, and this is called systematic artery, or we can say aorta, arteries or aorta. And here is another valve which is present, the starting point of this artery. This is by semilunar valve. Is one of the semilunar valve, and another semilunar valve here. And also these two are pulmonary veins, and these tubes are connecting to this right atrium, and that is superior vena cava, and this is inferior vena cava. Superior vena cava means மேற்பெருநாளம், inferior vena cava means கீழ்ப்பெருநாளம். Remember, you will be studying this heart or human blood circulatory system in grade 11, chapter number 6. Even if you go to biology, you will be studying this about, right? So keep it that in mind. If you want to take it, or if you want to search wherever in internet or wherever in your book, in some of the book, you must know these English terms. Otherwise, it's tough, right? So I'm just gonna draw now this picture very clearly, right? Look now. I'm going to draw this one heart very clearly. You will be, sometime you will confuse this one. I'm just drawing now. It's a heart, human heart. Human heart is what? There are four chambers. Within four chambers, This is mitral valve or tricuspid valve. This is bicuspid valve. And there are two. This is what? Right atrium. Sorry. Yeah, right atrium is a right ventricle. The left atrium is the left ventricle. The bicuspid valve is a tricuspid valve. And there are mainly two main tubes which is starting from here, and that is a pulmonary artery. And here is a pulmonary artery. And if it's going to go in its right side, we can say right pulmonary artery, right pulmonary artery. And this is left pulmonary artery. And between this one, there is a valve. Here is a valve. This is pulmonary artery. Already I said, if it goes right side, we can say that this is what? It's not a right. I'm really sorry. It should be left. By observing is right, but actually this is left. And this is right pulmonary artery. And there is a valve here. We can call this one semi-lunar valve. Luna means what? Luna means what? Lunar eclipse. What is lunar eclipse? Sandirakiram. Lunar eclipse means Sandirakiram. And semi-lunar valve, we can call that Aramadi valve, where it is present in pulmonary, right? So pulmonary artery. So we can say for this name is what we call, we can call that pulmonary semilunar valve. Right. And this is mitral valve or tricuspid valve. Sorry, bicuspid. And this is tricuspid valve. And also there is another important tube which is starting from left ventricle, that is aorta, or we can say systematic artery. And this is starting from systematic artery. And I can draw that valves here. And this is systematic artery. Systematic artery. Or I can say aorta. And also there is a valve. This is also semilunar valve, but where it is present in systematic artery or aorta. So I can say aortic semilunar valve. Aorta means Togudipirnadi. Aortic semilunar valve. Then there are two main veins. We can call that pulmonary veins. Pulmonary vein which is coming here, right? So I'm just erasing here. I'm just taking that one to here. It's easy. Then there are two main veins which is coming here and which is carrying blood to the heart. And these two tubes which is coming from where? These two tubes are coming from lungs, right? It's coming from lungs. We can say lungs. Lungs mean Tamil Nurairal. It's coming from lungs. Abdullah Imad, don't draw. Okay, it's coming from lungs. The blood is flowed towards the heart. At the same time, there is one most important vein, vena cava. Vena cava means perinadical. And that vena cava is starting from here, right? I'm just erasing this all, right? Because I can't draw. It's better to. Okay, now you should have a nice vena cavas. These vena cavas taking the blood from the body cell. And that vena cava starting and finishing this one right atrium. And there are two vena cavas starting. And that is what this one is superior vena cava. Right? So wait. This is superior vena cava. And also this is inferior vena cava. Vena cava means perinalangal. Perinalangal. So this one is inferior vena cava. This link will expire by 1 minute. After this link will expire, please come to same link, right? Same link that you click பண்ணீங்கன்னா வருமா? நான் தந்த முந்தைய லிங்கை கிளிக் பண்ணீங்கன்னா வருமா? Right, these two tubes are vena cava and superior vena cava means மேலுக்கு இருந்து வாரது. So superior vena cava and this is inferior vena cava. Inferior vena cava means superior vena cava means மேற்பெருநாளம். Inferior vena cava means கீழ்பெருநாளம். And this is how you must know one thing again. The thick of this left ventricle is higher than this right ventricle. Remember that this is right ventricle and this left ventricle chambers is thicker than this right ventricle. We'll be studying this one why it is later, right? This is right atrium and this is right ventricle, left atrium, left ventricle, and then comes. Right? If you like, take a screenshot, right? Take a screenshot, you can get the clear idea, right? I'll put it.